All right. Hello. The white female cannibal terrorist bomb maker from 1509, who is in this house, is waiting for over 1,000. It's in the 1,000 ballpark. 1,100 is just that's enough with number, because I'm kind of messed up with my mouth. It's very broken. It's around 1,100. She's waiting for these ISIS members. They're Arabic. They're not Afro. They're Arabic. They're all from the Middle East. All of them. And I have said on my account in the years before that they come in a large number of the towns. So this is a planned terrorist attack, and they're bringing in trained level 3 and 4 dangerous ISIS. Level 3 and level 4 extremely dangerous trained ISIS. So these are military, but they're not enlisted anymore. They're ISIS and they're all Arabic. They have to deal with the Saudi Arabia government. Okay, the Saudi Arabia government is completely 100% directing this. Okay, it's the royals. Okay, so not all of them are that capable and dangerous. About 15% are level 3 and 5% are level 4 of that 1,000. These are exact numbers. The rest are dangerous and are killers, will chop off heads, castrate people in parks, just slaughter people however they are directed to do it. They're coming to this area right around here, the immediate area, because we're so close to the White House. They're coming to, and this house is like another branch of the White House. It's not me that I'm talking about. It's the Iran runs the White House. Saudi Arabia and Iran have taken over the White House. So this is their terrorist cell down the street. They have every last DCPD officer that's on payroll, they have on board, and they're aware. They're all aware that there's going to be a big Middle Eastern attack. Every single one, on and off duty. It's not quite as the same with the fire department. And the fire department, I'm not allowed to talk about. The fire department is just as evil, but I am not allowed to talk about them. The dead bodies, one is still here. The other has been dismembered and dissolved and all the disgusting stuff they do here. The dead bodies of two very dangerous Russian-speaking Russian nationals were here. They're directly linked to the Saudi terrorists, Saudi government. They speaking basis with them. The female had sandy blonde, long hair. She was around my age or maybe 5 years older. She looked really bad for her age. Very wrinkled and tan, but not really tan, but her skin was tanner from doing a lot of tanning. I would assume outdoors. Not a lot of fake tan was going on with her, but it was really wrinkled. Her skin, probably drugs, who knows, alcoholism. She looked bad, man. She had blue eyes, kind of slanted not slanted, but kind of tight eyes. Just she looked like she was like from Finland type eyes. Someone, but she's very white, Nordic looking. But she's Russian, okay? She's dead. She's your average height and weight. She was really dangerous. She's a former Russian agent. And one of the ones that's evil. I can't get sidetracked with this. She hadn't been in the Russian military for like over 20 years, but she's used this. I don't know how it works there, okay? I'm not saying that just because I learned about the good military there that I know the ins and outs of their military. I don't. She took that training with her neo-Nazi ambitions 20 years ago and became a full-on terrorist. She's really dangerous. She's level 3 dangerous. She's basically an assassin for the far right, the white Nazis. She was an assassin, but she's a terrorist. She does this other stuff. Was. Okay, enough describing with her. She wears kind of like hiking type clothing. That's what she wore. Last probably whereabouts will be identified in hiking type clothing. I can't describe this, I'm sorry, I just cannot. She was killed here by the good guys with her partner, who's a long-term partner, not a lover, the neo-Nazi Russian. They're in this terrorist cell. They link to the Saudi government and directly to Putin. No doubt, these are some of the intermediaries. This man, he was like in his early 60s, late 50s, wore his hair about 3 inches. It was almost all silver. He didn't dye it. So he was at that age. So he had some of his natural darker hair, which was dark brown or really dark brown. His eyes were blue. He was tall man. 5, 9, 10, 11, something like that. He's tall, he's not short. I'm tall for a woman. But once you get to 5, 9, 10, 11, 6 feet, you're tall for a man. That's your average height, but he was like 5, 10, 11. He wore his hair like that. He wore optical lenses. He was very, very... He had no prior military. But he's a very dangerous, trained fucking terrorist. Far right. He's not an assassin. Far right Nazi. His eyes were blue. His skin was white. He would sit around and be real friendly to anybody, chit-chat with them. Really mixed in with the crowd. So he's a sociopath because this is what he used to do. He was one of the people who taught these terrorists how to dismember, and they dismember the body parts into very small pieces. They literally saw them up. It's really disgusting here. And he taught them this. So this guy's, you can ask the professionals what exact psych profile he has, but you got the picture, right? He'd sit around, be friendly with his blue eyes and his silver hair, smiling, this white guy. He wore professional type clothing, more like yuppie clothes. A jacket, a blazer with like a t-shirt. Right, this type of guy. And then he'd go into houses like this and chop people up into inches. It's really disgusting. He taught them how to chop them up into 1 inch and then dissolve them. I don't want to talk about it. It's doing a number on me, what they do here. Okay, so there you go. That one taught them this, and he worked with that woman. They're both dead, and they were both killed in here. And they are some of the bodies that I smelled today. And they, of course, came to execute me, which is a great reason why I don't move around in here just free and easy, right? Okay, you understand why. This is not the worst of them. There's straight up fucking agents that come in. I described them, dude. They're really dangerous. They're evil, okay? It's the German army we're dealing with. A lot of them are U.S. fucking Marines or something. They're level 3. The level 4 and 5 are the ones from overseas, and they are military personnel. And they are capable of the shit that's coming our way. We're going to lose probably New York City. Let me just mention about New York City. I spent a good amount of my life there, not my entire life. And I saw everybody leave. There was an exodus even when I was there, and there's been even more of an exodus. I want people to please just know that the people who chose to stay in New York chose to stay there because they worship the white nationalist temple. Having said that, I spent a great time of my life there. I know how bad it was, and anybody in their right mind was planning to leave when I was there, and I was too. It was getting that bad, and the news and the press were covering it up, and I used to say, what the fuck are they talking about here? And there'd be terrorist attacks, and they'd say there's no credible threats, and they started saying lone wolves to every fucking one. I lived there a great deal of my life, so we'll talk about that later when people choose to actually fucking speak to me. And I'll do some writing on it, because I'm not just saying everybody in a city is swine. I'm saying they had the time to leave, and the ones who were good-hearted have left. You can't afford to live there. And the people who left knew to leave. It was too dangerous and too expensive, and it's a miserable place to live. Let me just finish with this. It's so expensive, there's no art, there's no culture. It's the white nationalist temple. That's all that's left there is expensive real estate, Starbucks, and the museums. I don't want all the museums like the Met to go up in smoke, but look what they do to the Met. They bring all the terrorists in Hollywood who are getting knocked off by Iran and the Israeli organized crime. They're all getting assassinated. They bring all the Hollywood stars to the Met to parade around when I'm in here with mice and bugs, crawling to my bed on the floor on my hands and knees because of the threat to my life for speaking against this government and their terrorist cell. I just want the world to understand that the people in New York is more than likely, Putin, when he realizes he's lost, this group of governments, these deranged Russian military, they're really evil. With Japan and certainly Iran. Iran has a huge hand in this. They have this weapon. I can't talk about it, but it devastates the city of New York. Okay? And nobody in their right mind, unless they're worshiping the white nationalist temple, would stay in that fucking island of Manhattan. Of course, God forbid there's people that get caught up in it. And that's why I pray. And that's why I always say that I'm praying for the United States. I'm praying for the good Americans, okay? But the people who chose to live there, no. they're not, what God says is they have no psyche. Jesus says they have no psyche, like you got your id and your psyche and all that. I can't remember this stuff right now. I'm way too injured from trauma. He says when they turn against God, they have no psyche, and that's for your empathy and your conscious, having a conscious, being able to feel guilt, know what is right, what is wrong. So, enough said about that, all right? The two terrorists here were in this camp, the two white terrorists that are dead here. And I don't remember where I left off because everyone knows I can't remember things very well. I'm going to do a part 2.